Hey there, welcome back to Farmcraft. I'm John, and we're getting ready to go for the day, getting back to work on this pond. So here's a quick recap. We started out clearing the site, pushed all that brush that we cleared up into a burn pile, then started pushing off topsoil, then cleared the area below the dam, pushed that into the burn pile, and then started trucking out topsoil. Then prepping the dam area, I found a very rocky area that I dug out, and then started digging the Keyway, which is where we're picking up with this video. So far the ground has been a lot rockier than I was expecting, but I will use that rocky soil on the back of the dam, and hopefully we're going to be able to find some good clay in the other areas of the pond. Here you can really see the two types of clay that I'm working with. There's the brown clay and then the red clay. They both are really good clay and should seal the dam really well. So recall that a keyway, which I'm digging now, is a trench right in the center at the bottom of the dam. And this kind of locks the dam in place and prevents water from being able to have a straight shot to get underneath the dam. You dig this trench out and you pack it full of good rock-free clay. Now this hole that I'm dumping some dirt in now was an area that I found that had a bunch of rock that I just didn't want in the dam because it would encourage it to leak. So I dug all that out, and I'm going to be packing that full of clay as well.
Yeah, so this isn't the Keyway. I just need to put some decent dirt back in here. So as I'm scooping out of this, if it's not rocky and it's decent clay, I'm putting it in there. If it is rocky, I'm trying to put it there. That'll be fine for the downhill side of the dam. I'm kind of sorting the dirt as I go. And we need to get this filled back in. I'm kind of hoping that once I get down that far, I'll be able to actually get the excavator in there and come in and kind of pack it in. We're moving along. It seems to be getting less rocky, fortunately, so I can take a lot of this and put it in there. That helps.
The really good clay that I'm finding, I'm putting on the uphill side of the Keyway, and I'll use that to pack back into the Keyway. This is the stuff that's just solid clay, no rocks, really good stuff. The old Yanmar's been working like a champ so far. Hope that continues. Excavators are really amazing. With a little practice, they become true all-terrain vehicles. Almost all-terrain. This might not look like much, but when you're in the machine and it's tipped that far, it's kind of intimidating when you're not used to it. Now this isn't a solid clay pile, obviously. I'll push all this rocky stuff to the back of the dam later. Going up this other side, the hill's steeper and I hit an awful lot of rock. Much rockier here than anywhere else I've been. Almost done. Just got to get up this last hill. It's a lot steeper than it looks on camera. Pulling up out of this, I had the excavator at about 45 degrees. I knew it wouldn't flip because I had the arm facing up the hill, but still kind of gets your attention.
All right, Keyway is done. And like a lot of times when I do stuff, I find that the scale gets lost. I mean, this is a big trench. And then that hole over there was really big. I've already started filling it back in. So I was kind of sorting the dirt as I went. This right here is actually brown clay and really pretty good stuff. If I find plenty of that, that's what I'm going to build the dam out of. The red clay is supposedly better at holding water, but it's got rocks in it, and that's no good. You know, the next thing I need a lot of really good quality clay. So I'm going to push this mix of topsoil and subsoil that's left here up out of the water line and try to find, hopefully, a good patch of clay. If this is any measure, I'm going to find it right here in the bottom, which would be just fine with me, because then I could just take the dozer right along the length of the pond and just push dirt over for the dam and to fill in this Keyway. Of course, it's supposed to rain here in a couple hours. Hopefully it won't rain too much to make this a royal mess. A little bit wouldn't hurt. So yeah, I've got different piles. I know this is a good pile. I've got a couple, the two end piles on there are good stuff that I could push right back into the Keyway. The one in the middle, though, has a lot of rocks in it. Now, the rocky stuff will be fine for, like, the very back of the dam. It just needs to be there and kind of support the dam. Obviously, if you're having water infiltration all the way to there, you got other problems. So the whole front side and half, you know, the top of the dam needs to be really good clay. So that's the plan. I've got some other stuff to take care of today, so I might not be here anymore today. Hopefully the rain isn't going to mess me up too much. And this will show you why you don't want to let trees grow on your dam. These are old rotting roots here, and it's going to be fine because I've broken the, you know, the roots basically form a channel, and then when the tree dies and rots, there's a path for water to go. But we're down at the bottom of the Keyway. It's going to be packed full of clay. There's going to be just clay all around it. Water's never going to reach this point. But if you let a tree grow on your dam and it penetrates its roots down and sideways and it's reaching into the pond, which it will do, it'll go after the water, and then the tree dies, well, then you're going to have a channel right through your dam for water to start infiltrating. It'll ruin your dam. So you can't let big trees grow on it. So we had a little rain last night. You can probably see that puddle down there. Not too bad, but I'm gonna take a couple hours here. Hopefully it'll only be a couple hours. And we're gonna push all this half topsoil, half junk up out of the water line or close to the water line, and then see if I can't uncover some good clay that I can start pushing over here, get the Keyway filled in, and get that hole back there filled in. That's kind of the goal for today. Then after that, it'll be setting pipe. Looking forward to laying some pipe. Well, it started losing power again, and I don't know if you can see, that filter just looks chock full of junk. It can't just keep on coming. I'm almost wondering if adding that fuel injector cleaner didn't like loosen a bunch of stuff up in the tank, and now that it's doing that. But I can clean that filter out, that's not a big deal. The question is, am I gonna have to bleed the whole thing again or what? I'm gonna undo it here. Let's get that filter cleaned out, and then I'll bleed it to the filter and see if it'll go from there. That wouldn't be too bad. I can just bleed it with this pump. You guys can see how much crud is in that thing. That is crazy. There, I got it cleaned up pretty well. Let's get it installed and get back to work. Now let's do the little hand pump and see how we do. Yeah, the filter's got fuel in it. Definitely see air coming out here. Yeah, if that'll do it, that won't be too bad. If I have to bleed the whole thing every time, that's going to be really annoying. On full throttle. Come on. Thought I had it. So that pile of brown dirt right there is brown clay. That's going to be fine for the Keyway. The rest of these piles I'm actually going to bring to the back of the dam once I get the Keyway full. I did find good clay in the bottom there, so basically I'm going to push the Keyway full at this point, I hope. That's the plan. You could probably see there I'm constantly down on power. That screen that's in that thing is just too fine, and it won't let enough fuel go by. And look at it, it's already packed full again. All right, so why am I not fixing this right? Well, the way to fix it right would be to clean out the fuel tank. The problem is you really have no access to this tank, and it's built into the Dozer. It's not like you can take the thing off. You know, it's all the way down. This is your access, and right inside of there is a baffle. So most of the tank you can't even see, and you're not going to be able to reach it with a straight shot. There's just no effective way you're going to be able to really clean it out the way it is. I think to clean it out, I'm going to have to cut a hole in the top and then make a plate that goes over it with a rubber gasket. And then I could reach down in there and really clean it out. And I may end up doing that. But obviously right now I'm in the middle of a job, and that would take a fair amount of time to do. I'd really, I think, want to take the Dozer home to do that. I took that screen out of there and I actually drilled some tiny holes in it, and it helped a little bit, but it's just not enough. I need more fuel flow. If I could just deliver diesel to the cylinders, this would be working just fine. So what am I going to do here? I think tonight I'm going to take that screen apart, and I'm going to bring that home and see if I can't come up with some kind of solution to give me a better screen that's going to allow more flow. And if I can get a screen in there that's just as fine as the one there, I'll just take that one out. This will be my screen, and then that'll be my filter, and that should let this thing run properly, at least until I get this job done. So I have a bit of a plan here. So this screen, let me zoom you in. It's just too fine, and it's been basically saturated with all the fines. This is some of the gunk that I scraped off of it, and it's almost more like a sludge. I mean, it's barely even gritty, a little bit. That stuff needs to be filtered by the main filter. It can do a lot of that before it's going to need to be changed. I just need this to pick up the big stuff. Yeah, this is very coarse compared to that. Well, I have this piece of screen, which is actually similar in size to this one. So if I can get this screen somehow to work with this piece, or maybe even make a piece that's similar that will hold this screen in place, then I can eliminate this screen for now because I'm already screening it. And I think this would run for much longer, because I mean the whole screen would have to clog as opposed to just the two little places on this before I would need to clean it. And I think that would be a reasonable solution for now, at least to get me through this job. Surprisingly, I could not find a filter like this with a coarse screen. They all had very fine screens, which is not working for me. Now remember, there is, after this screen, it goes through the hand primer pump, a couple of fuel lines, and then to the main fuel filter, which is really going to take all the stuff out before it gets to the governor or the injector pump. I think that's actually going to work. Hopefully, that's going to do the trick for us. Yeah, I had a little mishap with the tailgate here. It has seen better days. I had something heavy in here. It was attached to that cleat up there, which proceeded to break.
and it slid back and hit the tailgate and bent the heck out of it. It's so bad that the locking mechanism failed and I couldn't get the tailgate to open, so I had to take a Sawzall and cut that post. See, this is what it's supposed to be. It's now cut in half, and the locking mechanism is totally hooped on that side, so I just disconnected it so at least the other side can work. Come on, this isn't Andrew Camerata. I'm not a caveman. Fix it right. Perfect. Just kidding, Andrew. Back in business. Well, if all else fails, maybe I could go into bodywork. What do you think? Okay, I've got the new screen filter installed. I've bled all the lines, so hopefully that's going to be good. I did top off the engine oil. I think it's burning some oil, probably leaking some too. And let's see, just in case, I cleaned out the fuel breather, and I've set up this hose here. This is on the petcock, the drain valve of the fuel tank. And I'm going to run this thing for a while, get the fuel really good and shook up. And then I'm going to drain it out, and hopefully that's going to get a lot of that sediment and crud out of there. And I may do that several times until I can get that tank reasonably cleaned out. So my patch job here looks really good. No evidence of leaking. Skid plates are staying in place. Yeah, and actually some dirt packed in there around the epoxy, which it's just going to stay in there and keep it covered. So the epoxy is not getting anywhere at all. So that's good. Maybe today we can deliver some diesel fuel to these cylinders and push some dirt around. That is a very clean bucket. My fuel line going into it, coming off of, I don't know if you can see it, but the petcock right there. We were just operating, so it should be, fuel should be nice and stirred up. Yeah, let me put the camera down. I'm going to open the petcock. All right, got it open. And yeah, I can already see some nice chunks in there. So wouldn't you know it, that petcock valve failed. So I just ran to the auto parts store, and that's all they had. It's not the right kind, but at least I can plug the tank. It was only $7, so I'll order the right one online, and but this gets me running again. So let's put some fresh fuel in this thing and get to pushing some dirt. It's official. I'm spending more time working on the dozer than I am using it. That's no bueno.
All right, I just pushed dirt for several hours. It did the best that it's done as far as working for a long time since I've had it, but now it's doing it again. And my pre-filter looks okay. It is not clogged. You can see that down there. So that means it's probably that one. I have 10 hours on the machine, and you know, that filter's probably, I don't know how many microns, 30 or something for a diesel. It's probably plugged, so I'm gonna need a new one of those. So obviously I'm gonna have to address this fuel tank. And you know, that's fine, but stuff like this ticks me off. You know, the guy who sold this knew darn well this was a problem. And yeah, he could have said something, you know? Now I'm out here on a job site where it's very difficult to fix this. Obviously I can move the dozer back to my shop and put the pond on hold, but I kind of can't do that right now. I need to get this pipe in here. If we get a heavy rain, I'm gonna have a pond right over there in that low spot I've made. So I gotta get this pipe in the ground. So I'm gonna pull out the excavator and we're gonna finish it up, or at least get to where I can put the pipe in with that. All right, the Keyway is filled in. Huh? What, that little spot up there? Oh, I wouldn't worry about that little spot up there.
How about that little fella? Oh, that little guy? I wouldn't worry about that little guy.
No, once we get up to that height, really the Keyway is not that critical at that point. I'll still fill it with good dirt, but we can fill that once we're up there. So, here's the deal. This is right smack in the middle of the Keyway, and this is right where the pipe is gonna go. That's kind of the natural valley of this hollow. And then
yeah, we've had some challenges, but we're finally moving on this project, and next week we're gonna be laying some pipe. Who wouldn't look forward to that? Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, check me on Instagram and Facebook. You know what to do.